How many of you men now, you feel like, okay, I want to lead. Amen. I want to lead myself, my family, my business, my ministry. Like, I want to be a guy in the fight. For those of you men who want to be in the fight, or you are in the fight, there's going to be a fight. Men who lead in battle, they do battle a demonic oppression of fear. Here's what it says in 2 Timothy 1:7. And this is Paul, who's like an older spiritual father, writing to Timothy, who's like a younger spiritual son. So this is kind of spiritual fathering 101. It's like the spiritual dad says, hey son, Timothy's getting activated. He's a young man, but he's entering into leadership. He's taking on responsibility. So Paul tells Timothy, all right, son, here's how it works. God gave us a spirit, not of what? Fear. Fear. Some of you heard me talk about it. We're going to revisit a few things because a lot of guys are new. God gave us a spirit, not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. So Timothy is like a spiritual son, and he's like, all right, Paul, tag me in. I'm a leader. Let me lead a ministry, lead a church, lead a movement. You can trust me, send me, I'll lead. Paul says, as soon as you do, you're going to have a war with a demonic oppression and a spirit of fear. Is that true? How many of you guys felt called to something as soon as you stepped in it, you felt fearful of it? How many of you, you're like, okay, God told me to marry her, and you're like, I don't know if I made the right decision, okay? So the married guys laugh. That's the testimony, by the way. How many of you guys, you're like, I know that I'm supposed to be working this job, and you're like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if we're going to make it. I don't know if I can, this company's not going to survive. I don't know. Let me say, every man, now here's what men will never tell you, that they struggle with fear. Here's what every man struggles with, fear. Because the more leadership responsibility you take on, the more people and things are depending on you. Which means there's more things that could go wrong and more people who could suffer. The result is you're feeling an incredible, overwhelming, sometimes nearly crushing weight of responsibility. How many of you men know exactly what that feels like? Okay, my wife is counting on me. My kids are counting on me. My employees are counting on me. Right? My disciples are counting on me. They're counting on me. And what a leader does then, because here's what happens. A leader lives in the future. And a leader is trying to figure out, okay, where are we going and what is coming? The truth is, oftentimes that's pretty terrifying. Like, how many of you right now, let's just do this, to be honest. How many of you are business owners right now? Okay. How many of you are looking at the future with a nervous eye twitch? You're like, okay, next year, do we plan on being in a socialist economy or a capitalist economy? Because that does change the numbers. It's a little terrifying. Right? How many of you guys are financial advisors and planners, and your customers are asking you, how should we sequence next year? You're like, I don't know. You're just eating gummies and not answering your phone. You're like, I don't know. Right? And if that's you, the guys around the table will pray for you. You need that. But what happens is the more you know, the more fear you're going to have. The further you see, the more fear you're going to have. The more people and things you're leading, the more fear you're going to have. Because there's a lot greater opportunity for things to go very, very wrong. Is that true? So some of you heard me say this. The number one command in the Bible, more than every other command in the Bible, in some form or fashion, we find it right here, is fear not. And I've looked them all up. Almost every time it says somewhere nearby, for the Lord is with you. It doesn't mean that there's not a reality in front of you, but there's a greater reality over it, and his name is Jesus Christ. It means that you may be going into darkness, but you're not going alone. Fear not, the Lord goes with you. Now, let me say this. When men become fearful, so here's what's going to happen. The Bible says here that God has not given us a spirit of fear. So it's an older leader telling a younger leader, here's what's coming, son. Fear. A spirit of fear is coming. This is oppression. This is not demonic oppression. He's not evil. He's not possessed. It's not like those weird Halloween movies. This is an oppression that comes on him. How many of you men know what it feels like when an oppression comes on you? You're like, oh, that's heavy. I'm burdened. I'm a little disoriented, dysregulated. I'm not myself. I feel exhausted. This is a little overwhelming. I feel anxious. That's an oppression. It's a spirit of fear. You just need to know, every man who decides to be a leader will have an ongoing war against a demonic oppressive spirit of fear. It's just reality. And that spirit is going to come on you, but you can't let it in you. You can't listen to what it's saying. You can't listen to what it's saying. You're going to fail. You made a mistake. You're not loved. You're never going to measure up. You're going to crash again. As soon as you hear you, realize someone is talking to you, and it's not your father, it's the father of lies. That's an oppressive spirit of fear. Thanks for joining me. My name is Pastor Mark. I've been teaching the Bible for more than 3 decades and head on constant collisions with woke culture. And I would love to get you more Bible teaching. 2 things you can do. Go ahead and watch the sermon in total and also subscribe to the channel. And I'll just keep sending you Bible teaching and we'll have a lot more fun together.